Adnome, good to see you here, buddy. Thank you for coming on in. And who else do we got? Jenny! I love you, dear. How are you? Good to have you back. All right, we're about 1 minute away. Let's see. We just got done watching a Very Merry Mix-Up Hallmark exclusive. That doesn't surprise me, Corey Foote. It scares me, but it doesn't surprise me. Hi, Tim, over in Spreaker. Good to have you here. Remember, a great way to support what we do on this show, everyone, is give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. We're less than 230 away from hitting 10,000 on our YouTube channel, 10,000 subscribers. And we want to hit that number before the end of the year. Also, the Super Chat is open, and you can always do a little shopping for your SOR gear by going to facebook.com/Spaced Out Radio. That's facebook.com/Spaced Out Radio. Make sure you go in there and grab yourself some swag because it really supports what we do. And Virgil, how you doing, man? How you doing? Good to have you back. Always a pleasure. We're going to go here in like 5 seconds, everyone. Let's have a good show tonight. Here we go. Of Central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on KPNL, TalkStream Live, and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Cindy Goodbrake has been researching Sasquatch since 1998. She mainly concentrated on the southern states of Oklahoma, Texas, Mississippi, and Alabama. But now, living in northern Idaho, oh yeah, there's Bigfoot there too. She is on the search. She is on the hunt. She will discuss her encounters, theories, and stories along the way as she is an experiencer of this incredible creature. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Cindy Goodbrake, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, well, I am just doing amazing on this Friday night.
Well,
Talk about my favorite subject.
Hey, it's one of our favorite subjects around here, too. And, you know, I figure if I grow any more facial hair, people will start trying to take pictures of me walking along the riverbanks or something like that. But, you know, for you, as you look at this entire subject and everything you've experienced over the years, explain to us, did you believe in Sasquatch before you had your personal encounters?
Yes and no. I saw the film when I was a child, the Patty film, and I never forgot it. And I grew up along the beach, so it's not like I had a bunch of woods around me, but my whole life I've just always been just adventurous in ways of wanting to know history and what's possible. So my father would take the family out camping a couple of times, and I just never really wanted to go out camping into the woods, and that has to be probably why.
Okay, so when you look back, growing up along the beach, you know, here we are, that's not a real good place to find Sasquatch. When did you first hear about this elusive creature?
When I saw the Patty film when I was a child. And then when I was in Texas, in North Texas, in my 20s, and we were living out by a place called Lake Tawakoni, which is east of Dallas. I had no idea that there was activity right there on my property or on the neighboring property, which is 1,000 acres. So 1999, I probably had some questions, and I typed some information on the internet. And then the next thing I knew, I had hooked up with a bunch of people, and we just started hitting the woods. And some of these people that I hung out with, they grew up with Sasquatch. Their grandfathers had knowledge and information of this. I hate to say creature because of what I know now of what they are. And so from 1999, probably 2000, we hit up the Big Thicket, and the Big Thicket is a huge area in Texas, and also southeast Oklahoma. I had my first sighting, what's it called, Sulphur Springs, by this animal preserve at this private, on a private property with some other people, and it was nighttime, but clearly I could see something in the woods, and it was just not clear, but I could see the outline, and someone was telling me there's one 50 feet away from you, and it was not clear as day, but for me that was like my first sighting, I guess. My other sighting that I had was in southeast Oklahoma, but it was very brief. My husband had an encounter on horseback in southeast Oklahoma, which is a very popular area where we used to go horseback riding and camping, and just tons of times that we have been out in a place called Honobi. I say it wrong all the time, Honobia, but I think the correct saying is Honobi, Honobia. And we have a ton of friends that live there, and my husband has an aunt and some other people that are in his family that live in a town called Tallahena. So that was another place that is just so remote. The Kaimichi area there is so beautiful, and I could sit here and talk to you for like just 2 hours just about Texas and southeast Oklahoma. And then, of course, up here, that's a whole other story, where I live now since 2004. And I did have one sighting here, but it wasn't like, it was just very, very brief. And now, when I say sightings, I would have to explain it to you more in a different aspect of what I see now through my camera lens.
Okay. So as you were having this first experience that you had, let's go back in time. What was the atmosphere like leading up to that day?
So in Texas that day, it was probably, I'd say, fall. So it wasn't like really, really hot. The group of people that I went out with, somebody was filming something, and it's a very hard time for me to the place of this animal, place of what it's called. So I was a little worried because the owner of this property was a little anxious of having just anybody over. And so at that time, this was probably one of my first outings. I had just started taking off with some of these people, and which I hate to say who they are because I don't know if they would be okay with it. But this one place, it was so quiet. I think she had 15 or 20 acres, and it was all woods. So we had arrived there early in the day to get set up. We talked. We walked into the woods, and we were looking at tracks. And my friend who had taught me how to find structures, and he taught me a lot of things about what is out there. He was telling me about the family because that was the first time I had been there. So he was telling me about the family and her experience on her property when she was a child. And she had seen, like, I think she said, like, a baby ape or something that had jumped out of the tree. And so now here she is. She's married. She has a child, and she's on this property. And so we were getting set up on top of the, what's it called? Kind of like a shop or a barn. And we were on, like, the second floor, and it was just really quiet. There just wasn't a whole lot going on that night. And then we started hearing, like, these weird screeches. It sounded like something was wounded, but it was not like anything I've heard over time. It just sounded very strange. And then since we were upstairs, I went down the stairs to get a drink. So I went down the stairs, and I walked to my vehicle. I opened up the trunk to get, I think it was a Dr. Pepper or something. And then my friend had, from on the second floor, he said, "There's 150 feet in front of you." And I kind of stopped, and I really didn't move. But then I closed my trunk, and I just walked back upstairs, and somebody was filming, and I really don't remember because later they were showing it, and what I saw just, I saw a face, I saw teeth, and she was definitely frowning, not happy, and that pretty much sent me off the wrong way for the future, because at that time it was all about flesh and blood, just flesh and blood, and I really didn't think, like, what else could it be? So at that time, it happened so quick, and the following couple of months, my husband is not into this topic at all. So he was not really crazy because I was taking off like 2 times a month. I would leave my job in Dallas, and I'd come home because we were out in the country. So that's like an hour and 15-minute drive, going through traffic, going back to our place. And we had horses, and so I was, like, taking off all the time. And then eventually I had met some other people that were with a different group, and they kind of left that group, and a bunch of us just kind of hooked up, and we started going out to places like the Big Thicket. But I was just a student. I didn't know anything. I was just there for learning. And it was, man, those were some of the best times, going out into the Big Thicket with some of those people that I still keep up with here, like 20 years later. It's crazy. But we had some crazy adventures in the Big Thicket, and I'm trying to think of the place called Boykin Springs. So that was one crazy night for a bunch of us. Something happened to me, something happened to this other guy that we called Bear, something happened to another friend of mine. Her name is Lori, and they've each told their story. of what happened to them at Boykin Springs on different podcasts. So that's kind of like a popular topic when you hear them talk about it. So I've talked about it a couple of times of what happened to me that night. It was crazy.
How did your opinion of Sasquatch change having that close of encounter for the first time?
Well, when I saw the film, to me, I thought it was an 8. And then the argument was, what exactly could Sasquatch be? And there's so many opinions out there. There's, the missing this, or it's that. But my opinion really did not change until I moved up here. I was pretty much just flesh and blood, but that was it. I had a lot of friends that at that time were expressing things that were happening to them, what we would call the woo, which I hate that word, kind of, because at that time, like in the early 2000s, I really did not even consider that at all. And I am so glad that I opened up my mind, because I really didn't have a choice of how my life had changed once I came up to North Idaho.
Okay. So
does that answer your question?
Well, I see your puppy wants to chime in on that too. So obviously,
yeah.
Obviously your puppy there has had some Sasquatch experiences as well. Yeah, apparently so.
Oh. Ace, my dog, this dog can smell everything, and he knows everything that is on my property. It's crazy. I will actually use him as a tool, like when I'm outside and I'm on my property. I will watch him in my lab, because he will show me when something is passing through, or if he's barking sometimes, like aggressively. So he's been a good tool to help me on my property. So I'm actually on like 6 acres, but it's all wooded, and I'm at the bottom of a mountain, and I have my other people that live around me. It's all wooded too. There's some open spaces, but I'm in a valley here, and it's a lot of unrest, and the history is just rich with a lot of native stuff, and I have a combination of stuff happening here on my property. It's not all just Sasquatch. It's
right.
all like
you got the whole gamut going on there.
Yeah.
You got some aliens. Be honest. You got some aliens there.
Some aliens? I don't know. I hope not. But I did have something that happened to me a year ago that was really, really crazy. But I could probably tell you that later.
No, you got 5 minutes here. 5.5 minutes. You can't tease me like that.
Okay, so a year ago we were inside my house asleep, and my dogs were inside asleep, and they woke us up, or something woke me and my husband up like 2 a.m, and it was not my dogs, and it came from inside my house. So then I don't know what it was. The next morning I woke up. I'm up early at 5:15.
Ew.
I opened up my front door, and it's dark. It's 5:15, and I see this light up on the mountain, and it's hovering around, and it's not it's something flying above the mountain. I kid you not. I have it on video. So I'm like, what the heck? And I grab my phone and I start filming it. And then my dogs start doing this weird growling, and then I get pine cones being thrown at me from the left, and I get all these pine cones being tossed to me, and then I'm like, are you serious? I'm trying to film this light, and I'm not having an easy time of it. And then whatever is in the woods, I'm going to assume it's the Sasquatches, the small ones. They're breaking sticks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, seriously? I'm trying to film this, and then it stops. So I go inside, and I'm watching my audio, and it's crazy. It's like, why are you pummeling me with pine cones? But I had it there on audio. It's crazy.
Maybe they wanted to add some, hair, extensions or some hair jewelry, and that's why they were throwing you the pine cones.
Oh, no. But something woke us up at night, and I don't understand. But clearly, I don't know, they didn't want me out there. They didn't want me out there. They didn't want me doing something, and I was trying to film it. And then finally, when I didn't acknowledge them, they were breaking twigs in the background, and I say something like, seriously? Okay, I hear you, fine. So once I acknowledge it, then they stop.
I gotta ask you on a very serious note here regarding this, okay? From what I know and have heard from other experiencers who've had Sasquatch/UFO sightings at the same time, the Sasquatch really don't like the UFOs. They don't like the aliens. And so I'm wondering if you filming the UFO was kind of upsetting these Sasquatch because they didn't want you to draw attention to them.
I have no idea, but I'm filming. Okay, that's the first time that they have done that, like in my face, like that. And I was not scared. And right away, as when I step out, because I'm looking up on the mountain and I see this light, and at first I think it's like loggers up there because, hey, but it's not. It's not. It's like something flying over the mountain, which, by the way, is called hoodoo. I mean, come on. And I'm like, oh my God. So I grab my phone and I'm trying to film it. They're throwing these pine cones, and I say, are you, and then I say a bad word, which I shouldn't have said, but I was like, are you kidding me? And then they break a twig, and I'm like, stop, oh my God, seriously? So I'm trying to, not even care about them. I'm trying to film this light because that's what I'm interested in. I've never seen, not like that. And then it stops. And then the pine cones stop. And then later, around, so that was around 6 a.m., but it's really, really dark. So around 7 a.m. when it was getting light, I walked outside to the left of my truck. To my left was by the shop, and sure enough, there was a bunch of pine cones on the ground, and I had just raked my driveway. And I was like, oh my God, seriously? First they thought, okay, well, maybe you're imagining things, but I wasn't. And I have it on audio, so I will send that to you. But because I cussed, I didn't send it to you.
No problem. Cindy, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Bigfoot experiencer Cindy Goodbrake, she's going to be telling us her stories all night long about strange encounters in the forests of Idaho, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma. Yeah, we're in for a good night tonight. This is going to get real interesting real fast, so stay tuned. If you love a good Bigfoot story, this is why we are here nightly on Spaced Out Radio. That's a good, solid first half hour, kiddo.
Oh. Oh, well, I was a little nervous, but
Oh, you did
I'm
well.
good now. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, so I would like to talk about Boykin Springs and then Oklahoma. Have you heard of the siege of Honolulu?
No.
Come on, you haven't heard of the siege of Honolulu?
No,
What happened to that family?
You are filling me in, man. I can't do everything. I can't know everything.
I know, but that's like the story. As a matter of fact.
The story for me is getting talked to and chased out of the forest by Bigfoot.
Yeah, no. In fact, I'm standing outside right now, and we've cleared some of the woods over there. So ever since that happened,
they're not happy.
Not because of that, but just because.
Look to your left a little bit.
What?
Look to your left a little bit.
Why?
Because if you're looking out where you are right now, if you look to your left, you might see an eye shine.
Sorry, what about eye shine?
I said if you look to your left a little bit, you may see an eye shine.
Well, wait until I tell you what happened to me Halloween night.
All I'm saying is sometimes old Davey can pick this stuff up. You can ask Joe in our chat room one night. I freaked him out. He didn't believe in anything I did, and then I told him to take a photo in a certain area in his yard. Never met the guy, never talked to the guy. Takes that photo, and there's 3 sets of eyes staring back at him.
Oh, yeah. I actually did a video of what happened to me that night, and I don't know what I did with it. I think I shared it somewhere, and then... Oh, I shared it on Duke's The Montana Project.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that Duke. He's dangerous. Dangerous. He's in our chat room right now. He's in our chat room. And, you know, I mean, that guy, when he puts on his wrestling mask and cape and starts running through the forest trying to, you know, lure Sasquatch into a wrestling match, I worry about that guy. I worry about him.
Duke, yeah. Duke's my friend.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to wait till I read his comment here. Hey, by the way, Cable Guy Matt, are we going out Sunday or what? We got to check the gifting site. You got the ride, man. You got the ride. Please let me know about Sunday if you're available. Anytime, even if it's nighttime. 1 second here. Hey, Big Rob, how you doing, man? Hey, Stirs Nevette, how you doing? Duke didn't respond. Duke, I gave you to my wrestling comment. I set that one up beautifully, and he missed the call. Duke, come on. Hurts my... Oh, there it is. Sasquatch fears me. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Yeah, hey. Nacho Libre.
Exactly. Hey, Michael Boyle, how you doing? I have permission for Michael W. Hall to be here tonight, so just so you know, how's the cherry Pepsi tonight? Say hi to your beautiful wife if she's tuned in, too. Where am I, Dave? I am in central British Columbia.
Central British Columbia.
Yes. I have Bigfoots all around here. The Cable Guy Matt needs to get us out in the snow, and he's not responding. He's like falling deaf. What's that, Dave? What's that, Dave? I can't hear you, you know. Once again, a good way to support this show, Super Chat is open. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up or down, whatever you prefer. Hit that subscribe button as we are encroaching on 10,000 followers. So if you are brand new to this show, we hope we can earn that subscribe button for you to hit. And you can also do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. We do have some Bigfoot swag in there, too. Hi, Tiki Torch. Welcome to our chat room for the first time. Good to have you here. We love you loving our show. Thank you. Sandra Piper, you're looking lovely tonight. Welcome back. And Cat Chaser, thank you so much for the super chat. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Appreciate each and every one of you tuning us on the mighty SOR. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you have missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with experiencer and Sasquatch researcher Cindy Goodbrake. Cindy, welcome back.
Hey, I think I like that term experiencer because I don't call myself a researcher anymore. So I like that term.
Experiencer of the woo.
Okay, well, experiencer. I
there
just
you
like
go.
That
there
word.
you go. Okay, so take us down to Texas when you were doing some Sasquatch experiencing there.
Okay, so the Big Thicket. Me and my husband, we loved to ride. My husband was active Army, and my older son probably, I think, was maybe 7, something like that. So I was gone, like I said, quite a bit. So with my husband's schedule being in the Army, it was really, really hard to plan. But I loved hooking up our horses and going to places like the Big Thicket. And I will tell you a story of what happened to us one night while we had this horse trailer. It was so big and it was so ugly. It could carry, I think, haul 6 horses, but we made the stalls like to carry 4, and then in the front it was kind of like set up for us to sleep. We also slept up in the top part there, and we had gone to, I don't even remember where. I just know it was somewhere in the Big Thicket, and the soil was so red. There was something about the soil. I was telling my husband because my horse had been shoed like in a weird way, so he was kind of walking. So I was walking funny. So I was thinking, well, maybe this isn't going to work. I was kind of thinking, well, shoot, but here we are. So we had got there. My husband made a fire, and it was very late, and we were not out there that long. And bless his heart, he made this fire. It took him a long time, and I started hearing like a choir. I don't know how else to describe it to you. It sounded like, not like people singing, just like humming, and it was different octaves. And here we are in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And then it just kept up, and I said, okay, that's it. I'm ready to go to sleep. And he's like, I just made this fire. So we had our horses hooked up for the night, and we went inside the horse trailer, and I could hear this all night long. And the fire died down, and then the next day when we woke up, our horses were gone. And I'm thinking, son of a gun. So I'm out there standing. It's kind of chilly. And my husband's like, well, great. So he goes walking down the road, and it's just me and him. You know, there's no kids. It's just me and him just trying to have a good weekend out. So he takes off going down the road, and this truck is there. It passes by, and it keeps going, and it picks him up, and it takes him. And our horses are like way down the road. I'm like, oh my God, how did they get loose? And then he came back with our horses, and, you know, of course he was mad. And I was thinking, well, crap, like, you know, what happened? I was kind of freaked out. And then I noticed on my horse's mane, and I had noticed this before because our horses were on 15 acres, and in the back we had a pond, and then there was this huge fence, and then there was 1,000 acres. And I had noticed on some mornings my horse's mane and tail were kind of like knotted up, and I thought, well, that's weird. But I just chalked it up to, you know, he got up in a fence somewhere, or he rubbed himself. But his tail, I couldn't explain. It was just like tangled. And my friend came over one day, and she was like, this is like really, really weird. So that happened to like 3 or 4 of our horses. We had 9 at one time. And I thought, what the heck? You know, that's weird. And this is before I even got into research. You know, I started seeing stuff like that. So on this trip, my husband got the horses. He came back, and we're trying to, like, have breakfast and saddle up. And I'm like, well, like, you know, what happened? And he's like, I don't know. They just, like, got loose. And so we ended up riding for that day. And it was just really weird, like a really weird day. And I wasn't comfortable that whole trip. And it it made my husband mad because I just could not relax. And then I was like, okay, I don't like this place. I just want to go home. So I find out later, like 2 years later, that we had gone somewhere close to Boykin Springs, and that explains it. So Boykin Springs is a place, a camping spot, an area in the Big Thicket. And so many people have gone to that place because they have heard other people tell the story of, you know, when they were there or things that had happened to them. And this group of people that I would go out with, sometimes they went out with, you know, not all of us went out all the time, but this one night there was extra people, and I don't remember why there was extra people, but the number 18 comes up. So I don't know if there was 18 people there or what, but there was a lot of people there, and people were out in the woods. And at that time, my best friend, her name is Kelly, she's passed away a couple of, 2011 or 2012. But that night, Kelly was with us and the other people, and I was out in the woods, and Kelly was in front of me. And what we would do is some of the people would make like a call, and they were really good at making these calls. And they knew how to make a call, and they knew what it meant because they had grown up with these on their farm, and their grandfather had experienced life. So they were making calls, and somebody was doing something with I don't know if it some kind of instrument. But what I can tell you is that I was looking at Kelly, my friend, and I froze. I could not move. I was just frozen. And it felt like something was holding me down, and I could move my eyes, but I could not move anything else. I couldn't move my head, and I felt like what's happening to me, and it felt like it was like 10 minutes, but it was probably like 10 or 15 seconds, and I felt like I had been lit up, and I saw her in front of me, and then like she was like lit up, like somebody stuck my finger in the socket. It didn't hurt, but I couldn't move. And it was bad because after that, the only thing I remember is that someone else there had been chased by a Sasquatch, like by our vehicles, and we all had to leave. Someone was saying, it's time to go, it's time to go. It was crazy. I think we had 2 or 3 vehicles there. I don't remember. I'm probably telling the story wrong. But my friend, my brother, my good friend Bear, that was him. He had a crazy experience. So I don't want to tell the story wrong, but something happened to him and something happened to my friend Lori. I can only tell you what happened to me, and I did not like it. There was some other, and we ended up leaving, and it was crazy because at that time, a friend of mine, you probably have heard of him. His name is Tim, but he goes by Kumbo, I guess. So if you haven't heard of him, he was talking about infrasound. Excuse me. Like at that time, nobody at that time believed in it. Nobody understood it. He stuck his whole opinion out there, and his whole idea and theory got, made fun of by other people. But he kind of explained it to us of what happened, but I didn't understand. He would explain about frequencies, and a really smart person. So I would get I got really, really sick for like 2 days. I came home from that trip, and my husband was like, what's wrong with you? I was like so tired, and he was mad because, I was really tired. I was sick. I was like throwing up. He's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. And then my friend Kelly, she would get like, her eyes would like water up. She would get sick. And I was exhausted for like 2 days. So now people talk about infrasound. So like it's nothing, like it's common. But back then, people didn't accept it. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why. But we spent a lot of time out there. And I also had some other encounters out there in the Big Thicket. Sometimes with my horses riding.
Right.
And
I got to ask
and
you.
Also in Southeast.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead,
Sorry.
please.
Well, I was just going to go into the Southeast Oklahoma event that I was going to tell you about.
Okay, before you go into that, about the horses' manes being braided. I have had a number of our listeners tell us experiences about their horses and coming through and having everything from what looks like knots in their tails and manes to beautiful braids that were made overnight sometime. And, there's two theories on this. Number one, it's Sasquatch. And number two, that I was talking to another young lady locally here about it, that the fairies like to play in the horses' manes and tails as well. Have you heard that one?
No. What I have heard is that if I want to debunk it, okay, someone would call it a witch's knot or something, and then they would have an explanation for it. Oh, the horse was rubbing his head. Oh, he passed by the barbed wire. I have never seen anything beautiful or intricate except this one time. And I ended up selling that horse. I didn't have that horse that long, and we had gone to southeast Oklahoma, and then when we came back, I found like this weird braid, or it was like a half braid it was clearly there was a pattern in it, but then it was also like messed up. So I don't know. I've just heard that it could be a witch's knot, or somehow it's some kind of messed up, braid. Now, there are some theories out there that are kind of disturbing. A friend of mine had a good theory, and I know that other First Nations people would back it up. There's also a friend of mine has horses in Montana. They are not sure, but they feel that is a good theory, and it involves the Sasquatch raping the horse or having something to do with that. And that just really bothers me, because I just don't want I can't accept that. But that is a theory. But no, I have not heard of fairies at all. You're like the first person that's told me that.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that at all until recently. Like, I'm talking within the last 4 weeks. So I mean, it's a little amazing that has come up. But I had heard, from listeners spread out between California, Ontario, Colorado, and other places about the fact that they all have Sasquatch encounters in their area, and the horse braiding that seems to come along with that. It's kind of weird.
That is something that didn't bother me until later, because I had seen it like before I started even getting into researching or anything like that. And then after I heard about it, and I saw some of my own horses. So at one time we had 9, and then I think we had like 4 or 5. And I just have a hard time accepting that. But there's a lot of people that will back that up, where of that theory. But I was not into anything else, any other, topic like fairies, or, it was just Bigfoot. So I've never heard of that until right now.
Very interesting. We have Cindy Goodbrake on Spaced Out Radio talking Bigfoot tonight. Take us to Oklahoma. We got 5 minutes before we go to break.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't tell you in 5 minutes about Oklahoma.
Don't forget, we got another hour right after that, so get her started.
So my husband in 97, so again, this is before I started researching. I met him in 92 after Iraq. We got married in 93. Around 97, he's like, hey, let's go to Oklahoma so you can meet my aunt and my cousins. And I'm like, where? He's like, Talahina. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. There's mountains there. Sounds fun. And then my horse shoer said, oh, Talahina. Oh, yeah, that's by Honobie. And I'm like, who? And he's like, oh, yeah, it's a place where we go horseback riding every October. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So in 97, we went up to Talahina. It was just me and my husband. I don't think I had any other family members. And we went up to Talahina. I think we stayed 1 or 2 nights. And then we went to Honobie to check it out because my horse shoer had told us about this area. And my husband said, oh, yeah, that's close to family. And he said, oh, yeah, y'all should go up there and ride, take the horses. And so we did not take the horses on this trip. So I think into our third night, because it was a weekend, we camped out somewhere. And the first time we pulled up to the area, I thought, oh, my God, this is so beautiful. We went into the store there. I met the owner of the store at that time, and we went up to where we were camping by the creek. And that night, we had made a fire. We were sitting around the fire, and we were just talking. And then I heard this, like a siren sound. This is in 97 before I started getting into anything else. And it was long. It sounded like between a ambulance and something else. And I was like, what the heck is that? Is that an ambulance? He was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, well, that's not a wolf. He's like, no. I said, well, that's not a mountain lion either. He's like, no. And I was like, well, what the heck is that? And then I put my ear down to the ground. Probably sounds stupid, but that's what I did. And I sat up and I just thought, that's crazy. But it didn't bug me. We ended up going to sleep, and the next day I thought about it very briefly. And then the next year and a half is when I was out in the Big Thicket, and I heard that sound, what we call the siren sound. And I've heard that a million times over, and I can't do a good, I can't do a good siren sound, but it's just like a Sasquatch just standing on a cliff somewhere and just
letting it rip.
Doing some, huh?
Letting it rip.
Yeah, just, I don't know, like, hey, this is, it wasn't aggressive. It was just a loud siren. And it was not aggressive. It was just some kind of, who knows. But I've heard it a million times, and I have it on audio, too, of where I live here. And so that was the first time that I heard an actual Sasquatch, or what I'm pretty sure it was. And I've heard it in Oklahoma, I've heard it in Texas, and I've heard it up here a million times, like right out in my yard. So
that is amazing.
Yes, it was, because I have stood out here in my driveway. I stepped out of my vehicle one morning.
Hey, hold that thought. We're going to go to break here at the top of the hour, and we're going to have more with Cindy Goodbrake, experiencing Sasquatch, chasing down the legend, right here on Spaced Out Radio. We continue with The Woo on the mighty SOR. All right, I'm just going to run my dogs outside. We'll be right back, okay?
Yeah, okay.
An SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the story you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today. Take it from the top. Go!
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumble.
All right, I am back. All right. Hey, Long Island Bigfoot. Hey, Chris Mo. Thank you for joining us. Ooh, I burped. Excuse me. Who else has showed up here? Let's see here. Happy birthday to Gorgeous Jules. We love you. Thank you for being a big supporter of what we do on this show, and I hope your next trip around the sun is absolutely smashing. Absolutely smashing. Happy birthday, my beautiful friend.
Happy birthday.
I see you. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio's chat room. We've got about just under 2 minutes. You know, only in my area would you hear someone at 10:04 p.m. at night running their ATV up and down the road, plowing the snow away. Hey, Eberata, how are you? Gorgeous Wendy Williams, welcome back. By the way, thank you to Murray and to Cat Chaser for the amazing super chats tonight. Really do appreciate your love and support of this show, what we do here. Thank you so much. All right, we got about 1 minute. 1 minute. Hi, Mir Pearson. Hey, Dave Squatch, how are you? That's a good name. Welcome to our channel. Here to support your friend Cindy Goodbrake. Wonderful. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. Thank you. We got 30 seconds.
All right.
Remember, a good way to support what we do a little shopping at facebook.com/Spaced Out Radio, where you guys can do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. So that's facebook.com/the SOR Vault. There it is. That's the address. The SOR Vault. All right. Here we go. Second hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Jobberknoll. Jobberknoll is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight talking Bigfoot, Sasquatch, wild men of the forest all night long. Our guest tonight is experiencer and researcher Cindy Goodbrake. Cindy, welcome back.
Well, hey, hi, all right, great. Thank you so much. I'm having a great time, so I hope I'm not stuttering too much.
So you were right before the break. You were telling us this story about some strange experiences in Oklahoma.
Yes. So we went there in '97, and then we started taking our horses up there. And we would travel 4 hours from our place by Lake Tawakoni, and we would arrive in town. I had become friends with the owner or the person that was working in the store, and she made great cakes, and she would put like candy on top of these chocolate cakes. I would always order one. So we had gone camping a couple of times with just the family. We had gone every October with our friend who had told us about this area and my husband who had family in the area. So he invited us on this trip that this family did, and it became extended friends, and it was very, you had to be invited to this, and everybody would show up. They would bring their horses. It would be a week of riding in the Ouachita or the Kaimichi Mountains for a whole week. And my husband, most of the time, would go for the whole week. I, however, sometimes would go from Thursday to Saturday, and we just had the time of our lives writing, and I really fell in love with the area, and I could see myself living there. But some things happened. And I don't want to spend all night on Oklahoma because I really want to get to my property. But this is a story that all you have to do is go to type in the Siege of Honobia, Honobia, and you can hear the story of what happened there. My husband's family knows this family. And I'm not going to say their names because they really want privacy. So I don't want to say their names, even though everybody knows who they are and the story. But there was this family. It was a family and a brother, and they had a cabin, and they had a problem with some of the Sasquatches coming in and hitting the house, scaring them, turning the doorknobs, stealing deer. It got really out of control. So they ended up calling a organization to come down and to help them, and that kind of went south. And they one of the guys ended up shooting one, and it died, and they could hear it dying. And two other Sasquatches came and carried, I'm assuming, the dead one away. So after that, of course, it became worse for them, and it's a whole crazy story. And they just had a really bad encounter there, and of course, the group that came down, which I'm not going to say, made a big circus show out of it. Now, my aunt, my husband's aunt, knows the family. And she told me one day, because I heard about this, and we were going to Oklahoma like once or two times a month. And here I am, like a dummy, just getting on my horse and taking off. I knew that there was Sasquatches around. I knew that because I heard them while we were camping. But I had no idea that had happened. I had no idea. And I had been there probably like 40 times camping and horseback riding. And we always took off in a group. So if it was just me and my husband and, some other family members or some friends, so I never took off riding by myself. However, one day, it was nighttime actually. We had gone camping, and we did not take the horses this weekend. We just wanted to go camping. So it was my husband and me and my son, my oldest son, who, I don't know, he was probably 7. My younger son was not born yet. We were camping, and I could hear them like a clock, and it started like around 10 o'clock. I heard them to my right doing their woo, and my husband knew what they were. But that was very common. I was used to that because I had been doing this for a couple of years, well, maybe 3, but it felt like a lifetime. So this one night, I could hear them, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It was like a clock, like they would be just going off all night long. And then finally, my husband stood up, and we're always packing, we're always carrying, a gun or a rifle or whatever. So my husband was asleep, and he sat up, and he was trying to be quiet, but I was awake. He went out to the truck, which was just maybe 50 feet away, and I could hear the rushing of the water of the creek because we always camped out at this one spot. And he opened up the truck because it was going ding, ding, ding. And he got out the rifle. And he was checking it. So for him to get out, my husband's 6'5", 6'5",
Big dude.
ex-military.
Big dude.
He's built. He's big, yes. And he's very, he has that presence. And I knew what was happening, but there was no point in me saying, hey, let's pack up our stuff, because then it would just ruin a lot of other things. And I had been in that situation many, many times. So he was checking the rifle, and he closed the door, and he stood outside for, I don't know, a bit. Then he came in, and he laid back down. It felt like a long time, but it was probably maybe 20 minutes from the time. And I probably didn't go to sleep till 6 that morning thinking, why do I do this? I keep coming back here. There's something's not right. I love this place, but I'm not coming back here. This is the last time. I fell asleep, and I didn't get up till like 9 in the morning. So that day we, fished, we hung out, we packed up, and we went home. And I tried to talk to him about it, but he just does not, my husband does not care about the topic. He just thinks if they are there, we just need to just leave them alone. So, he's like, well, fine, so what? It's fine. Nothing's going to happen. I was like, okay. So that kind of freaked me out. And then I got pregnant, so it was 2002 or something like that. And we went up to Oklahoma a couple of times. I was pregnant with my younger son. I didn't horseback ride because I was pregnant and I had some problems. But I did go I still went camping, and here I was, 7 months pregnant. I think we were somewhere at this place called Red Rock or somewhere in Oklahoma. I've only been there once or twice, but we were out there, and we had some encounters there. And
what kind of encounters?
So it's not woodsy like Honolulu. It's just like a bunch of rocks, like just dry dirt. And that's all that I remember. There was a native woman there, and I don't remember what her name is, but I think she was Choctaw, but she was friends, very good friends with some of the people I was with. And so we went there, and some of the people had encounters with at night in the area there. I did not exactly have an encounter that time because I stayed back in camp. But some of the other people took off one night, and they came back, and they had seen some on the ridge, or they had seen red eyesight, and they were trying to get this woman to come to camp to tell her stories. This woman grew up with them, another example, and she had the same ones around her property, and they would come around, and she had a relationship with them, I guess. So that was a neat trip, because she did come into camp and she did tell her stories, but she was very shy. That I know, because we were warned, don't question her, don't be out, just let her do her thing, and that's what she did. So that was Red Rock. So another time when we were in Oklahoma, that camping trip right there pretty much was not good for me, because I just thought, oh, okay, this is crazy. So my husband went with some friends. He took our horses. I stayed back home. They went up to the same area, and they went horseback riding. They were going up this trail, and my husband, who wears glasses, he was third in line. So the fire break goes straight across. and then the trail went to the left. So Joe and his wife, our friends, were on their horses, and then my husband was last. So it was just them three. My husband saw something standing on two legs, and he said it was looking at him. And it went back into the forest. And he described it as being gray and black. So when they came back from the trip, our friend said, "Oh, Cindy, he saw something out there." And I was like, "Really?" Because my husband is not going to sit here and tell me. He just doesn't care. He doesn't. So he came in, and I was like, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" He said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you one time, and don't be asking me a lot of questions." And he said he saw something, and it was gray and white. It was not a deer. It was not a bear, and it looked at him with intent, like, look at me, acknowledge me, and it turned back into the woods. And I said, "Oh, my God, you had an encounter." I was happy because I was just obsessed, and I was gone all the time. I was gone pregnant. I mean, it was crazy. And he's like, "I saw something." So after that, I had my son, and we went back up to Oklahoma a couple of more times, and then I found out what happened to that family, that story there, where they killed a Sasquatch. And it was like one of the times while we had been hanging out there and writing, and this one time before I got pregnant, we were up there and we took off, and my older son was in a group. He has asthma and I have asthma, and we had taken off, and I said, "Oh crap, I forgot my inhaler." So I had a new horse, and I thought, okay, hopefully I can turn around and control him. So I told my husband, I'll go back to camp. So I turned back around, and I took JJ. I think it was JJ. He was a quarter paint. And I ran back to camp, and I got down, and I got the inhaler, and I started to leave. And then this truck pulled up, and it was the forestry, the forestry guys, Fish and Game, and they said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Fine." And they said, "Can we see your papers?" And I'm like, "My papers, like the horse papers?" Because you have to have your horses tested for Coggins if you're going to cross the state line, or if you're going to travel with your horses. So we had our horses tested, and we had the paperwork for the Coggins test. So I got the paperwork, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, for my horses." And they said, no, your permit papers. I'm like, what?
Okay, back to the Sasquatch here for a sec. With the encounters that you were having at this point, okay, this has to be leading up, because did you feel any anticipation that you were going to have a major encounter?
That night when we had camped, I had been there like a whole bunch of times, and in time, I just felt something didn't feel right. Okay, but I loved the area, and then when that happened that night, I swore it was going to be the last time that I was going to go, because it was like they were playing me, like they were over here to my right, and then they were like to my backside, then like a clock. I mean, I'm telling you, they were playing me, playing us.
How are they playing you?
They were circling us all night long, our camp, like round and around. But they would stop like at perfect points. Like if I'm laying down straight across, and I can say my head is 12 o'clock. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4. Okay, here's 6. Perfectly, like 2 o'clock, I could hear them screaming. 4 o'clock, I could hear them screaming. 6, just all night long, like every hour, like every half hour, they would move like all night long. That's why my husband stood up. Otherwise he would be like, oh, who cares? But for him to get up and to go check the rifle, that bothered me. And so I thought, okay, that's it. I'm not coming back here. So that was probably what kind of started sealing it for me until I heard what had happened. And then another night, I had to walk back to my car. I had to go down a path, and I had pine cones thrown at me, and I didn't know what was happening. And I heard like huffs, and I heard some weird sounds, and I had to walk all the way back to my truck in the nighttime, and I wasn't even thinking of what it could be. And it was very scary, because after what I heard to that family, I didn't go back. I did not go back, and I will not go back to that area. It sounds crazy, I know, but it's just, they are not the same like up here.
They're more aggressive
down there. They seem to be more red eyes. So in the Big Thicket, I've seen a ton of red eyes. I've been bluff charged by something in the woods that I didn't see on a different occasion. I have a million stories to tell you. But that was the worst night at Boykin Springs, and my first time that I was attacked with, I'm assuming, with infrasound that night. And also in Oklahoma, I had something weird happen, but I'm not sure. I took off on my horse up his hill, and I had my dog with me. It was right across the street. I didn't think it was anything. I was doing anything wrong, but a lot of people had left, and I stayed back, and I thought, well, crap, I should have gone with them. But so I just hopped on my horse, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go up this hill here, and I took my dog with me. So we went up the hill, and I smelled something like right away. It wasn't super like it stunk. It just smelled like unpleasant.
Like a skunk?
Kind of like something rotten, like between that, probably not a skunk. It just smelled like something dead and rotten. And my dog just whipped around, and so did my horse, and I couldn't even hold on to the reins, and my whole body just flipped around, and he took off down the hill. He hopped over a log, and I was like just trying to hold on to the saddle. I had like no rhythm. I wasn't, I was just holding on. And then when I got back down, they had just came in, and my husband had just come in with those people, and he saw me, my horse running into camp, and he was so mad. I told you not to take off on your own, being all Mr. Military guy and everything. And I'm like, oh, whatever. And so I got down from my horse, and I was shaking it, and JJ, his flanks were shaking so hard. And this guy, he was, I don't know what his name was. He did not say a lot, but let me tell you what. He would always tell me something in his language, and he would say, I'm telling you, stop playing, don't be doing that, making calls. He says, because that's very disrespectful. And I didn't know what he was talking about, but he lived there in the area, and he would show up sometimes, and he would tell me stuff, like don't be making calls. Right. I hear about, And so he grabbed my horse by the reins and took him into the water and calmed him down. And
on that note, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Sasquatch Encounters and Stories with experiencer Cindy Goodbrake right after this on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we're clear.
So when you say that, what does that mean?
That means that we've gone to commercial, and the people at YouTube can just hear us.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'd like to move past.
Well, I'm gonna ask you a few questions here because I want to get to because we only have an hour left. I want to get to the heart of some of these encounters around your area that you've had and sightings and everything. I think that's important to get to.
Yeah, well, that's actually the icing on the cake. You know, I spend too much time on the south because my area here where I live, an hour is not enough time. Oh my gosh.
No, I understand it, and it's going to go real fast, but I want to get to, I mean, you have had so many Sasquatch encounters. We're going to have to abbreviate a few of the stories here to get to the meat and potatoes, so to speak.
Oh, hey, fine with me. I can
Perfect.
speed ahead because that's pretty much where I'm at.
Perfect.
Where here comes 2004, and Uncle Sam is saying, y'all are going up north.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, I know. It was so hard, but I'm glad I moved. Oh, are you going to play any audios or no?
No, not tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's the good stuff.
Sorry, just getting caught up here. We have just over 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I don't get to tell you,
Pardon me?
Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you.
I said if I forget to tell you, Merry Christmas and your family, and we're just going to chill here.
All right, we got 2 minutes.
Still 2 minutes. So, if you get time, you have to go hear that story, the Siege of Honolulu.
I will, definitely.
It's on Sasquatch Chronicles.
Okay.
And I just said, oh my God.
Want to say a big thank you to Lynn Soos, to Mark Murray, and to Cat Chaser for the awesome super chats tonight. Really do appreciate you taking the time to support this show. Thank you to everybody who's given us a thumbs up or down. Also, thank you to the people tuned in right now. We absolutely love you. And a good way to support what we do, everyone, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and you can do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. It's a great way to support what we do on a nightly basis, and you get some really cool swag out of it, too, and I kind of like it. So we're going to be doing that very, very soon as well. So thank you so much for everything that you do. Hi, Shar. There we go. That's a good one. And that way you can't say, where's my hello? Where's my hello? 5 seconds here, everyone. And we're going to make a run for the next half hour right now. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. We want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rocking Out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with these great stories from Cindy Goodbrake about her experiences with Sasquatch. And since then, she's moved up to Idaho, where on her property, there's some strange things going on, and we're going to find out about it. Cindy, welcome back.
Well, hello, thank you. So as far as the South goes, a lot more, but so it is 2004, so my husband, got transferred up here. I stay down in Texas, so now my kids are 2. Justin is 2, and my older son is 8. January 1st, my husband was in Kellogg, Idaho, and he called me. He said, Cindy, it is snowing so hard, and he was so excited, and he found a place within 6 months, and then he came back down, and we hauled our horses up there, and he had found a place in the woods, and that was the first thing I said. I said, please, let's just move out in the country somewhere, no woods. And he's like, well, this is all I could find. So it's a beautiful house. It wasn't even built yet when I saw it online in my office. I said, just buy it, whatever, because we needed land. So we traveled up here, and it was very hard for me to leave everybody down there and my research, because I didn't know what was up here. I arrived up here July 2004, and I was really overwhelmed because of my husband. He was over the Army, the 321st Engineer Battalion. He was over the motor pool. So he was what they call active guard reserve. And I was really busy. I had quit my job. And when we pulled up into Coeur d'Alene, I thought, oh, my God, this is beautiful. As soon as I hit 90 and I went over the passes, I was so excited. I thought, oh, my gosh, this is perfect Sasquatch country. And my husband starts laughing, and he's like, wait until you see our place. I'm like, I know, it's in the woods. I had no idea. So we arrived here, and probably a week later, I found someone here in the area that I could trust to watch my kids, because I didn't know anybody up here, like nobody. So my husband was telling me about the area, the mountain up here. It's called Hoodoo, Hoodoo, like, oh my gosh, seriously? We rode to the top of Hoodoo Mountain, and we came back down. It took us all day long, but we took our time. We went over the top, and then we ended up somewhere. I don't even know where. And then we eventually came home, and I thought, oh, my gosh. So after a couple of months, I was watching my horses out here because it's all wooded. So this isn't exactly horse territory. So I was watching my horses, and we would sit outside and hear the wolves and the elk. I just could not accept the fact that I was living in the mountains in this beautiful area. It's like, this is like my dream. So in October, I wanted to do something, and I took a friend with me who heard some of my audios from Texas, and we went up to 7 miles up one part of the mountain, and I made some calls. And then we waited a little bit, but she was very impatient, and I told her we could be here all night and not hear something. So then I came back down, and I went to the other side of the mountain, and I went up this road. I kind of had like a Jeep. And within 15 minutes, where we had just been, the first place we were at, I heard him coming. A whole choir of them just doing their calling out, their shrieking, just all of them coming. And they were coming fast. And then they were like right on top of us. I heard like the alpha male or the female go, ah! I was like, oh my God. I hopped in my car. My friend hopped in her car. And I took off down the mountain. And I think I took the highway, and I did like a circle, and then I came home. And she goes, oh my God, that just sounds like, and I said, yes, that's just like what happened to us in Texas. And she was like, that's crazy. I was like, yes, I know, but you have to be quiet. And she was like, sorry. So I could not record it at that time because I didn't have like the equipment. Plus back then, it's not like the stuff that you have now. So within a couple of weeks, guess what I found on my horse's tails?
Braids.
The braids.
Wow.
The messed up tails. And so my husband was gone all the time. I was having a really hard time. I was getting depressed. I was just having a really hard time. I'm just going to be honest with you. And I just had a lot on my mind about the war because I was hearing, oh, they're going to go. And so I didn't have any friends to go out on outings with. I was thinking that was really dumb what you did, going up there on the mountain doing that. So now here they are. They're here. Maybe because of my horse's tails were all messed up. My paint, and then Philly, our other horse, she had something going on with her mane, but they were fine. They weren't traumatized or nothing. And then this one morning I was watering my horses, and my husband had made like this shelter out of some of the pine trees on our property, and we had stored the hay. We would put the hay in there and like the halters and sometimes the horse feed. Well, this one morning I woke up and I went out really early to water the horses, and it was summertime, and it was like 9 a.m. But I was out there, and it was still kind of cool, and I saw my horses like in the corner there, and I was just like, watching them, and then I found a footprint in by where the water is. It was probably a man's size 10 shoe. A little bit bigger than that. So I'm assuming it was a young one. It wasn't like, but here's the thing, there was only like 2 prints. That's it. And I called my son out and I said, look, and he saw him, and to this day, he's 25 years old. He will tell you, oh, wow. And so I covered it up, and I thought, wow. So a couple of days later, it was going to rain, so I uncovered it. So now I'm up here. I don't cast. I don't record or any of that stuff, because when we would go out into the woods in the South, everybody had all that stuff. They had the night vision, they had the casting. To me, I never could get into any of that. I did cast here and there. It just wasn't my thing. I just like to sit and to listen to the woods all night long. That was my thing. So after I uncovered it, I was hit like with realizations, and I'm thinking, oh, what have you done? What have you done? And so all that time, all those years that we were there, I would hear things. One day my husband had to go for the weekend, and one of my horses was colicking, and I was like, oh my gosh, he was gone, and she was rolling, and she did not look good, and so I had to call the vet. And the whole time I'm thinking, well, how much is this going to cost? Because, you know, I wasn't working. I quit my job, and I was just all stressed out, and I was trying to say, Isla, get up. I have to walk you. But she just wanted to roll, which is not good when a horse is doing that. So
was she traumatized by some sort of encounter? Let's get back to the Sasquatch here.
She got up, and she was not okay. And that was what I couldn't figure out, because she was acting weird, on top of being sick, of having something wrong with her. So the vet said that she was like, you know, not only sick, he treated her with something, but he said she's just, you know, like out of it. And so my husband came back, and I told him what was happening, and we just watched the horses. And then after that, I heard them in the woods. I would hear wood knocking. I would hear, you know, like howls off in the mountain. And then around 2017, I started really paying attention. So years have passed. I've had a lot of stuff happen. My kids would sleep outside. My older son slept outside with some of his friends out in the backwoods, and it was his birthday, April. They heard somebody walking around, and they thought it was us playing a prank on them. Well, it wasn't us, and so the next day he came in and he said, which one of y'all was out there? And we said, nobody was. And so that was something that was weird, and I wasn't for sure. So I walked back to the woods, and there's too much stuff on the forest floor, so I really didn't see anything. And then I saw these structures to the back of my woods.
What did they look like?
Okay, so they have changed over time. That's like a whole other, just so they changed over time. And there was like one that was a clear X of where they had been camping, and structures. So in Texas, we saw a lot of like these small structures that were in the ground, and we saw like a whole bunch of them and then they were all like destroyed, which is really weird. That's one thing that happened to us in Texas. We had gone and told the forest rangers, hey, look what we found. And then the next day they were all destroyed. I'm seeing the same thing.
By who? Who destroyed them? Was it the forest rangers?
We don't know. I don't know. But that was a story I was going to tell you, but that I had forgotten. On one of the outings, we were out there in Texas, and one of the guys was doing like an experiment, I guess. We had gone to this area, and he had peed around some of the trees, and then we had returned later, and then it was just trashed. It was just all torn up. And then the next morning, we had found these formations, and then they were like destroyed. And I don't remember the whole story, but somebody destroyed them. Not only did they destroy the teepee formations that we found in the woods, which was a lot of them, they destroyed like the footprints we had found. I didn't, but some of the other guys had found footprints, and it was all destroyed. It was all destroyed. So up here, I saw the same thing in my backwoods, and I was thinking, what the heck? What does that mean? And then also in my front woods, there was like these two pine trees that had been pushed down and intertwined together, and there was like some X's and some other stuff like at the back of my property, and it just looked like nature stuff that had fallen over time, and then other stuff that just didn't look right. And my younger son, when he was 4, he started riding ATVs all over the place. And when he got older, he would ride up the mountain. So a lot of things happened here. But my younger son seems to be a attractant. He was 12 or 13, and he went camping with some friends. They took the 4-wheeler over here to the local lake. And I had a hard time with him going camping, especially with everything that I knew was happening. And my husband's like, oh, you have to let him go because, you're going to make him into something. And I was like, fine. So he went camping with his friends, and they heard at nighttime, they heard something walking in the water, and then he heard something large. His exact words were, it sounded like a piano was dropped in the shallow end. And I said, a piano? He says, yes, Mom, something big, like a big boulder.
I've heard that.
And I said, well, why didn't you? And I said, so why didn't you call us? They were terrified. So what do? They called the sheriff. And my husband up here is known by a lot of people. So the sheriff, I don't know who they called exactly. They called somebody. I don't know who they called. I don't think they called 911, but they're calling like the sheriff saying, we're hearing these noises. And the officer is saying, well, where are your parents? And they're like, oh, we're camping. So the officer said, well, it's probably just like a cougar or something. You probably should call your parents. There was some conversation. Well, they didn't call us. Instead, they turned the lights of the 4-wheelers on, and they had them on till the battery died, like at dawn. And then my son is calling my husband, Dad, the ATV's Dad, and my husband's like, ah. So he went down there, whatever. They restarted up the 4-wheelers, and then my husband's like, don't tell your mom.
So
my husband,
I got a question coming from Nikki here for you. With all this communication that you were having with these beings, have you ever had any telepathic messages from them?
Yes. Somewhat.
Okay, fill us in.
So I'm rushing to that part. So my son had this encounter, and I was not crazy at all. So now I'm thinking, okay, what the heck is going on? And I see him. He's not afraid at all. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So then more time goes by. He's 15. He's up there camping on the mountain with a friend. His friend couldn't stay. His friend left. So my son, who had a rifle, was there in camping by himself. And so he came home the next day, and what he told me just almost made me want to not let him go up the mountain anymore, because we had rules. But he's 15 now. He needs to camp out by himself. Well, he was in his tent, and he had his four-wheeler up there, and something walked up to his tent, and he said, "Mom, it sounded like Jurassic Park, like what's that? It just made a really bad sound, like a shriek of some kind." And I said, "And then
he was
what
up there
happened?"
alone?
He said, "Yes, he was up there alone." And then it left. And I said, "Weren't you afraid?" He said, "Well, yeah, but I mean, I couldn't move." And then he went to sleep. I'm like, "Oh my God, really?" So that's it. But I was fixing to go into the crazy house, okay? I didn't know what the heck was happening around here. He continued to ride his four-wheeler. We had rules. And in 2017, I said, okay, I'm going to start recording. So I got a cheap audio recorder from Walmart, and I turned it on. It was July. So I put it in on my truck outside, and I let it go all night. And then the next day, I got it, and I listened to whatever it got. And within 3 minutes, I started hearing like something being tossed out the truck, like rocks or pebbles. And then there was a larger rock that had hit the truck. And I was thinking, really? You're going to be tossing rocks at my truck? So then I didn't hear anything else in that recording, but I was really interested. So I kept putting out my audio, and then something happened that made me want to call my my real estate agent. I came home one night. I worked Monday and Fridays. I came home on a Monday night, and I walked in the door, and my neighbor had texted me. And my husband goes, "Hey, Cindy, is that you?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's me. I'm home." And it was like, I don't know, 11. It was a Monday night, May 2017, the Monday before Memorial Monday weekend. And he said, okay. And I thought, well, that's weird. So I went to bed. And I didn't read my neighbor's text, who, by the way, my neighbor, it's also Woods. He's also ex-military. He's, was in the infantry. So
we've only got about a minute left before we got to go to break.
Okay. My neighbor texted me, and then the next morning, my husband said, something fell at the house. And I said, what? And he said, something fell at the house. And I was like, where? And he said, it was like 30 minutes before you came home. And he said, it was somewhere in the back part of the house. So I ran outside. I ran to the side where my bedroom is at, because there's a trail that goes into the woods. And I didn't see anything out of place. I ran back in the house. I opened up my phone to read my neighbor's text. And what he told me really freaked me out. He said that his animals were acting crazy. He has some cats and he has a bird around. He said something is outside. It's got my animals really upset.
Warning. I'm going to cut you off right there because we do have to go to break here at the top of the hour. We got 30 minutes to go with Cindy Goodbrake tonight on her adventures chasing down Sasquatch. Then we get to the SOR Newswire, the thought of the day. Hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio is coming up right after this. All right, I'm going to quickly run my dogs outside. I'll be right back, okay?
Sure.
This is John Rucker. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some fake
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Powell, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get from Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make you feel deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I make. Be sure to keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month. And follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter @Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come rule it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks at the rock while serving some of the best-rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
right, I am back, and, all right, let's see here. Hello, Elaine Clifford. Welcome to the show. Grendel, thank you for the awesome super chat. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. And who else we got here? Third Phase of Moon, booked for January 15th, a Friday night. We're going to have fun there. Bim Jim, welcome back. And, let's see here. What else we got? Anybody else new? How you doing there, Cindy?
Oh, hey, I am ready to continue.
All right. We only got about 23 minutes left, so we're going to make it fun. UFO Garage, is that Joe or is that Ben with us? What is going on, my brothers? How are you? Chris Kringle, good to have you. Hey, Ben, what's happening, brother? Miss you guys. All right, we got about 15 seconds here. Let's do this thing, shall we? We're going to have some fun here. Stay tuned for the after party as well.
Would you like to connect with us? For all of your latest show info. And up-to-date stock.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do we got here? Jobber Noel. Jobber Noel is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce our guest, Cindy Goodbrake. Amazing Sasquatch stories that she has, and she's personally encountered through her time around the lower 48 of the states, and now in Idaho. Cindy, welcome back.
Hey there, boy. The time's passing by so quickly. I feel
know.
like I have to, hurry up. Oh, I know. I haven't even got to, anything of hardly. Okay, so my neighbor texted me. My husband says something's off the house. Monday night, I'm like, oh my God, what? I run outside again. My husband's getting annoyed. He's like, Cindy, so what? I'm like, so what? That's it. And he's like, oh, calm down. He's like, look, talk to Ken next door and see what that's about. And I said, listen to this. And I read him my neighbor's text. Something is outside. My lights are going off, and my cats are hissing. We have this wild cat that never comes in, but she was plastered at the door, so I let her in. And then he said that he was, an hour and a half later, he was in his bedroom window. He has these big, open with no curtains, and his wife is a nurse, so she sleeps early. So it's after midnight, and he sees something. It's a full moon this night. I remember that. And he sees something outside, and his cat is on the bed, and it's just hissing. And he's like, shut up. It's going to wake his wife. And then he looks out his window, and he sees something standing, and this is exactly how he tells me. It was standing on its haunches. And I said, on its haunches? What the heck? On two legs. I was like, really? And he said that it was sniffing the air. And he said, so just a heads up, it's probably just a bear. My neighbor is not into Sasquatch. He doesn't believe. And so now I'm reading this to my husband, and he's like, okay, well, go talk to Ken. So my husband leaves for work, I run back outside, and then I see on my house, on my kids, outside of where my kid sleeps, I have a running porch, like it's slate blue. There's handprints on my house where probably where it hit the house. And my husband did get up, and he did get the rifle, but the dogs were all acting fine. That was one clue to me, that they were very comfortable with whatever came around. So I was all freaked out. I called my friend, who's a realtor, and I said, hey, how much can I get for my house? And he's like, what's wrong? I was like, just tell me how much I can get for my damn house, please. Just tell me. And so he's like, oh, okay, I'll have to call you back. I have to do an analysis. So I went and I talked to my neighbor, and I had calmed down, and I said, so, like, where did you see it standing? And he showed me where it was standing outside. His whole property is wooded. He has a horseshoe-shaped driveway. My street is like a logging road. Then you can see the mountain. There's 2 game trails that go between our properties. So we figured, he's saying it's a bear. I said, well, how tall was it? And he said, I don't know. And I said, okay, well, that's weird. So then I went home, and then I talked with a friend of mine, and my realtor friend called back, and he said, this is how much? And I was like, okay, I'll call you back. And then my husband came home, and he heard me talking to my friend, and, who was telling me, oh, calm down, you'll be fine. They probably, that probably doesn't mean nothing. Because now I've lived here since 2004, and I was like, oh, my God. So that was that. Thursday night came. We were going to go out of town to Priest Lake. Nate has talked to you about Priest Lake. There's a client up there that knows me kind of, because I go to the same spot, and I go huckleberry picking every single year. So that's where we were going. We have a toy hauler. We took our ATVs, and we left on Friday. Thursday night, we were asleep in our bed, and I could hear like the whoop coming from the woods. That was normal. That was normal to me. I have spent every single day in wonder, because now I'm hearing my neighbor calls me down the road, and she's like, don't you be calling those things around here. And I said, what things? And she's like, something slept in my house. I'm like, oh, what? So I ran down there, and she's telling me something slept, and it was the same night. She couldn't tell me what time it was. I'm like, oh, my God, really? She says, yeah, it hit our cabin so hard. My husband is going to go underneath and take a look at the structure. I'm like, really? That's interesting. And she said, and no, it wasn't Bigfoot. I said, okay, I don't, that's totally fine. I'm not saying that it was. And I told her what my neighbor said, that he saw a bear, but it wasn't a bear, because that weekend, Memorial weekend, we were gone. I had no cell service. We were out there, and this thing came back, and my neighbor saw it, took a picture of it, and on Monday when we were coming back from Priest Lake, my phone started going ding, 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 and I saw a message from my neighbor, and he said, it's back, and it's walking to your place so he took a picture of it. And when I got home, there had been a windstorm, and he said that he had a couple of pictures, and he would call me later. So when I got home, I opened up the picture, and that was the first time that I saw something where I could see something, but it wasn't a good picture. And that was the first time when I experienced seeing something that was not solid, but I could clearly see it. It was a Sasquatch. I mean, it was hands down a Sasquatch. It looked like the back part of it, wide shoulders, and I thought, this is crazy. So I showed my husband, and he said he saw like he could see like an evil spirit or something like a ghost. I'm like, that's totally crazy. So I sent the picture to a friend who is a hunter who lives up in Wallace, Idaho. He did a analysis of the photo, and he said, listen, Cindy, this is not a bear, okay? This is something else, or it's a female Sasquatch. And I was like, something else? Like, what do you mean something else? And he said, well, there might be like a snout on it. And I'm thinking, what? A snout? That's like, sounds like a dog man, or one of the bad ones, the type 3 or something. I'm not sure. And I was like, oh my God, seriously? And he's like, yeah. And that is not to be repeated, because this guy had some kind of show, and he said he had an encounter while he was hunting, and he just ran into Sasquatch, and he said it went one way and he went the other. Well, he was killed. A couple of weeks later, he went off a cliff. And to this day, that seriously bothers me, because how are you going to go off a cliff? I mean, this guy, that's what he did. So a couple of weeks later, he had this accident, and he died. I just found out through a fluke. I don't know this guy that well. We were just friends on Facebook, and I knew he was a hunter of some kind. So that was in 2017. In November of 2017, again, I came home at night. We had a brand new dog, my lab. We had put up this fence to keep him in. I have an acre fenced in my front yard. I came home. It was late, and I got down from my truck, and right away across the street, which is 10 acres, where it's empty, and then it goes up the mountain. There's this other, like a private road, I guess, and then it goes up the mountain. Well, I heard a loud snap. I'm not talking about a deer in the woods. This is a loud snap. So this is the first time that they started to get my attention with breaking things really loud. So I turned around, and I looked into the woods, and I closed the truck. And yes, I was scared. And I walked to the gate, which I had to try to open, because the latch was stuck, because my husband had just built this fence, and the latch would get caught. And then I heard another snap. Finally, I opened up the gate. I walked out to my front porch. My dog ran out and just lay down and whimpered. And then I heard another loud snap, but the first one was the loudest. And I turned around, and I said, okay, I hear you. I'm going to bed. And I said, that is your house? That is your home? And I pointed to the mountain. I know it sounds crazy, but I talk to the woods all the time, and I just said, that's your home. You stay over there. This is my home. Don't touch my animals. And I closed the door, closed the doggy door, went to bed. The next day, I didn't even, had it in my mind. I hadn't even at all that day. So I got in my truck. It was like 2:45. I was going to get my kid, who is now in like 8th grade or 8th or 9th grade, my youngest son. And I was going to go pick him up. And when I was backing up, I saw this tree, which I know that property because I take my animals on it to eat the grass. The owners don't care. We have taken care of their property since we have moved here.
So with this Sasquatch that was hitting your house, after you went outside and yelled at it, did it calm things down?
Oh no, it ramped up. I've had constant activity since 2017.
Maybe it's in the feed that you're feeding your animals.
Okay, so I sell my horses I don't have my horses. I sold them, I don't know, 2011. But when I was leaving to go get my son, I saw in the pasture across the street from me 2 broken trees in the tree line, clear, like fresh. They caught my eye, and I saw a tree closer to the road. It was bent over, like part of the tree was bent over, and technically it should have broke. And I just went, oh my God. I got down from my truck, I left it running, and I walked over to the tree, and oh yeah, they were watching me. I mean, that feeling I have perfected down. And I was walking around the tree. It was probably 6 feet up where the bend was, and it had not been there like until that day, because I see that tree every single day. I can see it from across the street through my trees. And I walked to the tree line, and the closer I walked to the tree line, I could feel just the feeling of just being watched, but there was nobody there. And then I had a pebble thrown at me, and then I smelled this weird smell that I have smelled, like cinnamon and a musky smell. It's not really bad. It's a weird smell. It's like an outdoorsy, musky smell, which is totally weird. And so I saw the trees that were broken, and I was like, okay, 1, 2, where's the third? So I started walking into the woods, and I found 2 more bent over markers. That's what I call them, markers. There was the one in the pasture calling to me, follow me. So I went to the tree line. I found the broken ones. I didn't find the third because there was 3 cracks, and I found 2 more markers. And so I just backed up. I didn't turn around. I backed up to my truck, and I said, okay, I'm leaving. Oh yeah, clearly I was growled at. I'm not for sure, but I looked around. I know I heard something. Clearly, get out. And I was like, okay, I'm backing up. I was like, okay, I see it. I acknowledge it. I learned to acknowledge them right away. Now, I was told not to give them so much attention, or it's not ever going to stop, but that's impossible. That's too hard to do. So I got on my truck. I left. Brought my son home, showed him. He was like, oh my God. I have showed people this tree. I have done videos of this tree. I have, people have come and seen it. And that's just, stuff like that happens to me. And so now my kid is driving. I've had other stuff happen here. I've been audio recording. I have all kinds of different audios. I go outside at 5:30 a.m. sometimes, and I will be out there because what has happened is that I started to see things. I started working with other people trying to find out what's going on here because I noticed that I found tracks. Sometimes in Texas I found 3-toed tracks. I've found 1 3-toed track up here, but I'm not sure if it was a 3-toed track or not a very good print, and there was, really like 5 toes, because I had called a friend of mine down in South Texas, and I was saying, hey, I found a print, and it looks like 3 toes. I'm not sure, because it was their theory that the 3-toed ones were like inbred, possibly because they were really aggressive down there. All of them, in my opinion, were aggressive. So up here, I just kept audio recording, and I just started learning to know them, I guess, if you want to say that. And then I just my attitude had changed a long time ago. Of these are not, an ape. These are not. They are their own people, is what they are. There are different types. There's good and there's bad. They can do things that we can't do as humans. So that's what I wanted to know. I started asking permission. I have to build a shop. I'm going to chop all this stuff down. We're going to be chopping down these trees. Well, they got upset because we were building a shop. I had put out my audio, and we had cleared the forest, like an acre and a half, and they had delivered the metal, and it was July, August, summertime of 2017, 18. I put my audio out there, and within, like around 9:30, when it's getting dark, I could hear them. Bam, bam. There is no way. That sheet metal is 20 feet long. They had picked up the metal and had hit it so hard. 8 of my husband's size could not do that fast like that. And then I heard bam, bam, and then I heard yep from the woods, and I thought, oh, why are they pissed? So I walked outside and I said, listen, we're building a shop. What's wrong? I don't understand what's wrong. And I never did figure out why they were so upset. But after that, it calmed down. The shop was built, but stuff like that happens. And then I started going outside, and one day my family took a picture, and we were in the street. It was a Christmas photo, my family, my husband, my 2 kids. So now my kids are grown. Oh, my gosh, my son's 16, and we took this photo, and then I'm posting it on Facebook. And in some of my audios, I'm getting chanting. I'm getting, like, native chants. I'm getting drums. I'm seeing lights in the woods. I've had some family up here. We were sitting outside, and then I said, okay, I'm going to call them in, because I know how to call them in, but I don't do that anymore. But on this one night, my sister and her husband had come from Arizona, and we were sitting outside in my woods, and I had my audio going, and we were just talking about stuff that had happened. And my brother-in-law was like, hey, take me somewhere. And I said, okay. So we got in my truck, and we went to this one specific area.
We've got 90
I don't know
seconds.
why we went to this one area, and we came back to our house, and they were screaming. I have it on audio. My brother-in-law is saying, oh, my gosh. And I was like, yeah, did you see the lights? And so a lot of things like that have happened. But in a lot of the pictures, I'm seeing. So what I'm trying to say is that I can go outside now, and I will have my coffee, and I will watch my dogs. I kid you not. Tomorrow morning, I can get up, and at daybreak, I can go outside, and I can kind of figure out if they're there, and I will just start filming. And then I can see things. I can see them. Like yesterday, I took a 20-second video. I saw like a cone head sitting there. I saw the eyes bend, and my dog went right through it in the video, and she was sniffing all around, and I just stood there, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I went inside, and I sat down, and so that is where I'm at. I've been doing that this last year.
Cindy, I got to cut you off right there because it is time for us to say goodnight. Your stories have been absolutely fantastic tonight, amazing. So thank you for sharing them with our audience.
Oh, no, thank you. Just sorry I couldn't get to everything.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. And you hold on here because I want to say thank you once again to Cindy Goodbrake. What it's like to experience Bigfoot up close and personal. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this as we take it home. Thank you so much, Cindy. I appreciate that.
Oh, Oh, no, thank you. It was just wonderful. I just have so much to tell you. I didn't even get into the woo part of it, so I apologize.
Oh, no worries,
But-
no worries. But thank you for taking time out on your Friday night, man.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was great.
All right, you take care.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too. Have a good night.
All right, thanks.
Bye. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Cindy, for coming on. Oh, you guys are going to love this first story in the news tonight. This is just insane. Hi, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Thank you for the clown, Marty. It's pretty awesome. Ben, I'm not going as a speaker, but if the borders open up and they allow us down, I will be down there. That is the goal, yes. Hi, Molotov. So you and Joe got to come on up and hang out, man. Come hang out with me. Oh, yes, you will bring the wine, Ben. Yes, you will bring the wine. This year, without speaking, I will be more opportunistic, shall we say. Just make sure Joe doesn't do anything stupid like cut his hair or his beard. All right, I want to say a big shout-out thank you to Bennett UFO Garage, Grendel, Lynn Suze, Murray, and Cat Chaser for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you for supporting this show. I love you guys for doing that. And thank you to everybody who's new and has hit that subscribe button. We're just like 200 and some away, like 230 away, or somewhere around there, from actually hitting 10,000 subscribers here on Spaced Out Radio. And I tell you, one story we are going to have with this young kid in the news coming up drives me nuts. Young kid banking on YouTube. Banking, people. Where did I put that story now? I'm going to bump this up here. This kid just amazes me. By the way, I hate the term influencer. Hate that term. All right, here we go. Get your SOR swag, facebook.com/the SOR Vault. Here we go. Rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. My name is Dave Scott. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning on in. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news. Let's do this thing. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the, wow, revengeful. A woman who posted a video of herself beheading an owl on social media has been shot and killed by two assailants outside her home in Colombia. Milides Aldana, who the internet dubbed the Owl Killer after she posted a gruesome clip, was killed Sunday when a pair of men on motorcycles opened fire on her home. Aldana was leaving her home when the incident occurred. She was rushed to hospital by family members who heard the gunshots, but she was pronounced dead on arrival. She was questioned by police back in June after they were made aware of a video showing Aldana decapitating a white barn owl, but she was not charged with the offense. Police have released no motive for the slaying, though Aldana had reportedly received several death threats on social media related to the innocent killing of the owl. Wow, talk about an eye for an eye there, eh? Or a hoot for a hoot. Okay. You know, I'm trying to get 10,000 subscribers on our Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel. And we're close. We're only a couple hundred away. But I got some lessons to learn from this 9-year-old kid. Yeah, this 9-year-old boy named Ryan has made nearly $30 million this year from unboxing and reviewing toys and games on YouTube to hold the title of the highest paid YouTuber for the third year running. Ryan is from Texas, made $29.5 million from YouTube, as well as a further estimated $200 million from Ryan's World branded toys and clothing, including Marks & Spencer pajamas. He also signed an undisclosed but likely multi-million-dollar deal for his own TV series on Nickelodeon. Ryan, who is described as a child influencer, and I hate that word influencer, by the way, first began making YouTube videos in March of 2015 after watching other toy review channels and asking his mom, "How come I'm not on YouTube where all the other kids are?" His family, who has changed their real surname to his on-screen name, now run 9 YouTube channels. Ryan's World was the most popular with 41.7 million subscribers and 12.2 billion views. Ryan's most popular video, Huge Eggs Surprise Toy Challenge, has more than 2 billion views, making it one of the 60 most viewed videos ever on YouTube. However, Ryan and his family are now facing a threat of a U.S. Federal Trade Commission investigation over allegations that video's sponsors are not properly disclosed. Nearly 9% of Ryan's toy review videos have included at least one paid product recommendation aimed at preschoolers, a group too young to distinguish between a commercial and a review. A complaint from the consumer watchdog Truth in Advertising said these advertisements often depict unhealthy foods. Benjamin Burrows, an assistant professor of journalism and media studies at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, who studies emerging and social media trends, warned that there was a danger that other children were being targeted by child influencers in ways that parents may not be cognizant of or aware of. As a child influencer, Ryan is being courted by companies to play with the latest toys so that other children can see it. But now the child influencer himself has become a brand. That is when things like Walmart, Target, and Amazon as its own force and influence. It's pretty much the same, and it's shocking. Burrows said he became interested in the child influencer phenomena after his own kids asked him to do things that Ryan's family was doing. I thought, oh, there's something going on here if my kids are expecting our family to look like Ryan's family. In Ryan's family, they are able to constantly consume content and products. They're opening up a new toy every day and subsequently playing with that new toy every day. So there is this constant consumerism that is being embedded within these messages for children. In the top 10 biggest earnings of YouTube stars, he took home $211 million, this young kid. Wow. I got to tell you, here's the top 10 YouTubers. You got Ryan, $29.5 million. Mr. Beast, who is Jimmy Donaldson, $24 million. Dude Perfect at $23 million. Rhett and Link at $20 million. Markiplier at $19.5 million. Preston Arsamont at $19 million. Nastia at $18.5 million. Blippi at $17 million. And David Dobrik at $16 million. Along with the final one, top 10, Jeffrey Lynn Steininger, $15 million. There is money to be made on YouTube, and I can't hit 10,000. I'm trying before the end of the year. I just want 10,000. And then next year we'll go to 20. How about that? The members of the U.S. Space Force finally have a name. And only Mike Pence could come up with this one. The vice president calling them Guardians. Guardians of Space, people. This is what Space Force soldiers are now called. Vice President Pence revealed the name at a ceremony at the White House for the Space Force's one-year anniversary. Henceforth, the men and women of the U.S. Space Force will be known as Guardians, said Pence. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians. Space Force officials spent nearly a year crowdsourcing ideas and polling troops about possible names. The name Guardians connects our proud heritage and culture to the important mission we execute 24/7, protecting the people and interests of the United States and its allies, the Space Force said in a statement. The announcement of the name selection drew mockery on social media after being inspired by Guardians of the Galaxy space adventure film. According to Space Force, Guardians is a name with a long history in space operations, tracing back to the original command motto of Air Force Space Command in 1983, Guardians of the High Frontier. The Space Force said hundreds of submissions were received from service members and from the general public. The U.S. Guardians. Yeah. Okay. You may expect to see a deer, raccoon, or even a turkey somewhere in your backyard, but a large shark is, you can't even go into your backyard these days. There's sharks, okay? Yeah. Large sharks apparently are now in Australia roaming around backyards. A Queensland man shared a post on Facebook about a bull shark that was able to swim up to his backyard after a large flood. Another day that's wild on the Gold Coast, bull shark in the backyard at Burley's Waters, he wrote. The post received more than, I don't care how many posts it received, that doesn't matter. People commented, making jokes about the unexpected aquatic visitor. One person warned before, do not get tempted to go for a dip. Another person remarked that there were likely a few snakes in there as well. Yeah. You guys, you can't go in your backyard. You don't go in the ocean. This is how you get killed, people. This is how do you get killed 101. You get 3 credits in college plus half cost on a funeral. All right? Half cost on a funeral. You can't have sharks in your backyard. Now I'm going to be looking in the little stream that's only about, a foot and a half wide. I'm going to be looking way up here for bull sharks. Because now you never know. Sharknado may be officially happening. We don't know. But I'm not willing to take that chance. I'm going to build a wall. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a wall. No sharks allowed in my backyard. I need a foreman. Anybody got some construction experience out there? Let me know. Apply within. If you've ever watched Jaws, oh, here we go again, shirky poo. If you ever watched Jaws, you probably have a healthy fear of being ripped apart by a menacing great white shark every time you get in the ocean. Oh, so don't you say. Well, but as we know from its appearance in pop culture, a far more terrifying creature once lurked the depths of the ancient oceans, the megalodon. Yeah, Shirk, what are you trying to do here? Honestly. My newsletter, Lady Captain Shirk. I'm going to have nightmares tonight. Nightmares. And I know she is sitting in her lazy boy chair right now, laughing away, saying, I made Dave do doo-doo in his pants. Woo, what? What? Me? Yeah, you, Shirky Poo. As ferocious as this Paleolithic predator may appear, a study says it may suggest it's out of our wildest fantasies and most terrifying fears about this beauty creature may be true. I still think it's out there. Yeah, before the study, most information about the behemoth came from its impressive dental records. The research also looked at Megalodon's teeth, but instead of concentrating on the ancient shark, researchers also compared tooth and body size measurements of 13 different modern-day sharks to better understand how this long-extinct, so-called, allegedly, sea creature may have differed from its contemporary counterparts. It doesn't. It eats everything. How can that be any different? This thing, it's made to kill. It is the perfect hunter. All right? The study represents the first broad survey of living and extinct laminiform sharks ever conducted. Ultimately, it confirms once and for all, Megalodon was definitely as fearsome as its massive teeth would suggest. Of course it is. It's got 7-inch teeth. 7 inches. You know what that could do? That's one bite. One bite. This thing could take out a blue whale with one bite. Yeah, but what surprised scientists, apparently, in their data, was a 7-meter gap or 23-foot gap between the size of Megalodon and the size of its next largest non-laminiform, not directly related to Megalodon. Yeah, of course, it's 50 feet long. They're still there. They're still... You know what? This is just scaring me. Getting a panic attack here. All right? Now, once again, I love sharks in the ocean. Dave is a meal. If a bull shark saw me, or a tiger shark, or a lemon shark, or a great white shark, or Megalodon, they're going to be like, oh, wonder if we have any plankton to go along with this, just as a little side of salad with some seaweed. Don't go in the ocean, people. Okay? Leave the sharks to their beautiful grounds. They deserve to live. Okay? We don't like the shark hunting around here, but there's a reason why we don't need to go into the ocean, because these predators are out there. They are. French authorities have recovered a trove of more than 27,400 looted objects of an estimable value. Released this week as a man identified only as Patrice T. amassed the collection of artifacts, which included Bronze Age jewelry, statue fragments, and Roman coins for personal use and trading purposes. Last fall, Patrice, a Frenchman living in Belgium, told investigators that he'd used a metal detector to unearth 14,154 Roman gold coins at his recently purchased apple orchard in Gingelum, about 40 miles east of Brussels. But his claims raised suspicions by the Belgian Agency for Immovable Heritage, so they checked it on out. Yeah, so they found out using a metal detector for anything other than scientific research is outlawed in France. Under Belgian law, however, personal use of metal detectors is permitted, and treasure hunters who uncover objects on their own property are legally entitled to those items. So, they're saying they've never seen this many coins. Patrice opened up his trunk, showed 2 enormous plastic buckets filled to the brim. Officials inspected the site. Patrice's story fell apart pretty darn quick. During the site survey, They concluded that it was impossible for the coins to have come from this site and that they were located in an earth layer that was formed after the Middle Ages. A few coins could exceptionally still turn up, but 14,000, highly unlikely. Yeah, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. Construction crews digging up a baseball field in Ontario made a surprising discovery. What did they find? A World War I-era German cannon buried under the pitcher's mound. Officials in the Amherstburg area said crews were digging up the ballpark, which is to become the new site of a new public school, when they discovered the forgotten cannon was formerly on display at Centennial Park. City officials said the cannon was brought to the town in 1922 and was displayed alongside a cenotaph at General Amherst High School. The cenotaph was moved to Centennial Park in 1971 to make way for an expansion to the school, and the cannon, which was determined to be in poor condition, was buried underneath the monument. The cannon was forgotten when the cenotaph was moved again in the 1980s, and the area turned into a baseball field with the gun still buried underneath. Good Canadian kid, just throw some dirt on it. The Greater Essex County School Board said the cannon is being donated to the town of Amherstburg. We already received communication from a number of military historical associations that are interested in what we are going to do with it and have offered to help restore it. That is very, very cool. Very neat part of history right there. And finally tonight, a Florida woman who spotted what she initially thought to be a large alligator in her backyard was shocked to find out that it was actually a rare crocodile. Great. Bull sharks in Australia, rare crocodiles in Florida. It's all coming down. Mona, who's 70 years old, said the reptile had been spotted a few times in recent days by neighbors, but it was only when the animal exited the water to sun on her floating dock that it was identified as an American crocodile. Mona, knowing crocodiles don't normally live in the area, contacted the police department. They estimated the size to be 10 to 15 feet. And, once again, willing to eat any man or woman or child or animal that it could find. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Where did it all go? Hold on, we gotta find it here on Twitter. Oh yeah, here we go. What's the worst Christmas gift you've ever received? Marty, I'm not much on receiving gifts, but a great pleasure for giving gifts. Disappoints me when I go to a lot of trouble to find the perfect gift for someone, only to see them disappointed when I give it to them. Absolutely, Marty, I know exactly what you feel. God of Thunder, getting clothes for a Christmas gift has to be every kid's worst nightmare. Uriah, I took the Ancestry DNA test last December around Christmas, found out I'm actually related to the nut jobs I grew up with. That's nice. Thank you for the clown, by the way, Marty. Allison, after spending $750 on a leather jacket for my ex, and it took me 5 months to pay for it all, he got me a dollar store mug with my name on it, and my name was misspelled. Wow. Gail, oh, this list is lengthy. There was a set of golf clubs that were measured to fit the giver of said gift, a set of men's professional weightlifters' weights, a 12-man raft perfect for fishing. Oh, yes, I could hardly wait to unwrap these gifts. Andrew has a picture of a boat that's sunken. He got a sunken boat. Alex, a Notre Dame hat, only gift I ever refused. Kimberly, best gift ever? Unloading my ex. After how he treated me in front of a company over Christmas holidays we did spend together like a roommate and the hired help. I had no time to spend with my friends at all, and then he left me in debt where I had to file for bankruptcy, and half of the debt was his. The best thing I could have ever done was let the breakup happen and move out and move on. Jaretta, an open pack of bacon with a quarter of the bacon gone, went right into the trash. Who knows how long it was sitting out there? You got to be kidding me. Open pack of bacon? James, A dollar store magnifying glass that was so small I needed a real one to find it. Jim, the crabs. Nothing more needs to be said. Happy holidays, everyone. Evan, one of those children's scientific calculators. Wasn't even a calculator, just told you if you were right or wrong. Bobby, I got a date with a girl. I was disappointed because I needed a lot of penicillin. Scott, canned sauerkraut. Tasted awful. David, an ironing board cover. Who gets an ironing board cover for Christmas? Nothing says I hate you more than getting an ironing board cover for Christmas. Bob, a sweater from my grandma, but boy, do I wish I had her here today to say thank you. Preston, there's this awesome podcast that broadcasts every day. I was hoping for this really cool, awesome Christmas episode, but I got a rerun. Ada, I bought this woman, her husband, and twin sons expensive presents because the guy was my husband's best friend. I got a 2-ounce bag of peanuts. Yes, the kind that costs $0.25. Not only that, I can't eat peanuts. Brian, I got a Greek knife letter opener and a change purse made from a bull scrotum. Do I really have to tell you why I was disappointed? Penman, my sister gave me a lump of coal one year. And Kevin gets the final word, Dukes of Hazzard sweatshirt. Why? Because it was the Dukes of Hazzard. I don't know. I mean, it all depends on the year. Was that with Bo and Luke or those two guys that kind of filled in? What was their names? The cousins? I don't really remember them. I remember what they looked like, but they sure weren't Bo and Duke. That's for sure. No, they were not Bo and Duke at all. Bo and Luke Duke, pardon me. Getting all flustered here. Flustered over the Dukes of Hazzard. Hey, thank you to everybody participating in a fun thought of the day. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Also, a big thank you to Captain Shirk for a wonderful SOR Newswire, and to our guest, Cindy Goodbrake, who had some amazing Bigfoot stories. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAP, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club at our website, and of course, all the snarkers and snarkettes doing their best, like they usually do, at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. Good job, everyone. Good job. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your tickets are always available. Your season never expires. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. See you in your seats next time.